Start recording. So, this is part two of the lawful claim of title. This is where I'm gonna go through more of the what I was doing last night before I got shut off. So, um, hold on. I'm gonna open this other. Very good.
Yeah, I never got into it.
All right, so we'll pick up where we left off. Um, all right. So lawful claim and title, this is a document that I found several years ago. I've been kind of figuring out how to plug this in. When I did the name change, it kind of started to fill things in. Basically, we're going from being a decedent estate to a living trust. And so there's certain things that you have to document and let people know about. So um, just the templates basically got where you fill your name in, your state and county and so on. Um, it talks about the appointment of trustees, um, and Power of Appointment Act in 1951, all the different organizations that are currently managing your estate, um, and just the notice that all names and trustees I through let's say I through XXXIII, the above include are not limited to government and derivatives of variations of spelling of said titles and officers. So it just goes through each part of this. Arbitration from liability, binding clauses for appointed trustees, binding clauses, trustees in honor, controlling clauses. Um, so it just goes through and you just kind of edit and put your information in and um, talks about the trustees, how to keep the trust in honor, more about arbitration. In a minute here, I'm going to go through a more detailed version of this. So this here's the PowerPoint. This is what the book will contain. Um, I'm going to go over this in detail. So this is where you put your SPC information into this document. Um, So then it's 44 pages long. It really details out every single thing, every single name, every single trustee, about what trusts get collapsed, which ones are resulting trusts, and so on until you get to the end. And then you got to have your witnesses. So there's four witnesses, and then you have your notary. Now, notice here, this is something that you guys need to start paying attention to, is that the notary section is blocked in. Now, on most of my stuff, I've switched over to this because this is what makes your contract unabridged. So an abridged contract is basically where it pulls your contract into jurisdiction. The way that I've set this up, the on the last page, these are witnesses, right? So you sign it and then you have your witnesses. So this makes it private. Then when you put a notary block on it, then it brings it in the jurisdiction unless you box it in. So this goes back to the idea of why you box in the zip code and things like that. This is talking about the four corners, right? The four corners of the earth, right? So when you box something in, it puts it on the land. Okay. So once you've completed this, you send this, you can go to Pima County, you can put it on your, you can put it, you want to get this on a probate record somewhere. But if you can't do that, you can send it and put it on the record with Pima County. Um, when we get in, further into trust stuff, then in the revocable living trust, you're going to put this in your trust as part of it. So I'm going to show you that in a second. This is just our information. So next, I'm going to go over. Um, all right. So I'm going to show you where this is in trust. Now, this is my revocable living trust. This is mine. This is recorded. This is where you're going to get to. Okay. So what's funny is the first 6 pages um, is basically the the indenture, right? And then the next, you see this over here is 257 pages long. So the next 250 pages is all the stuff that you convey into it. Here's all the annexes that I did. Um, but let me get to, so when you get down to this part, Annex D. So this is the public notice of living trust, living irrevocable trust, special declaration. And then this is all the name change information where I did a name change from my all caps name to my bifurcated name and the exhibits that went with it. And, this is whenever I do anything in trust, I always seal it. So that's my seal. Um, and my bond. There it is. So here's the lawful claim of title that I did, right? And this is on the record for the name change case. It's also on the record at Pima County. So you start off with the Stamp Duties Act, right? So this pulls it into a postal jurisdiction. So it's got Social Security on the top, it's got a date at the bottom, it's signed across, and that's a $5 stamp. Then it goes through the whole thing until you get to the end, right? So you got a stamp here, stamp here. So there's $20 in stamps. $20 brings it into postal jurisdiction and it puts it's like 13 or it's like $12 million on it. $12 million of so you got to read the Stamp Duties Act to understand exactly what's going on here, but that's why I put $20 in stamps on it. And so I had the $12 million coverage over this trust, this specific trust. So that's showing you like how I used it in the trust indenture. Um, then let me look here. So here's a closer version of one so that you guys can see. So again, it's the names and stuff here and the matter of, and it goes through. These are all the trustees that you currently have. It's telling them what you're doing, all the different names, arbitration, binding clauses, and then you get down here to this one. This is an important one. Revocation of all powers beyond claim and other executive orders of claimant. Claimant, which is me, hereby revokes any presumed or actual powers of the trustees enumerated in I through XXXIII above or of any third party whatsoever not vested herein or vested in any other executive orders given to the appointed trustees by claimant to administer in the way of estate, trusts, and all stated in list below regarding any other belonging to the estate or trust in the capacity of the jurisdiction realm C or C for any reason whatsoever. Claimant specifically objects, denounces, rescinds, annuls, discharges, disavows, condemns, and reverses any actions or administration taken by appointed trustees or third parties contrary to the claim or any other orders which the claimant said seal, signature, or thumbprint, and all said actions and administrations hereby abated in all jurisdictions forever. Furthermore, all bound trustees shall recognize the same. Okay, so this is basically all the stuff that they tell you in this movement that you can do, you have to express, right? You can't just say, oh, yeah, well, I'm sovereign and I want to do XYZ, right? You have to express this. And that's what this document is doing. So then we go down here to this one. Trustees honor compensation clause. Trustees in honor shall compensate by the 10% of whatever funds, financial instruments, bonds, accounts, financial herein estate and trust funds that they account to deliver the claimant as stated as a list regarding to estate and trust. All estate and trust funds shall be converted into lawful and valuable consideration, gold and silver, before the 10% payment to the trustees in honor shall be distributed to each trustee in honor to prove that the claimant is following, that they have fulfilled the orders stated herein required. Trustees in honor shall have a full accounting, settlement, delivery, recovery, and lively assessment of the portion of the estate trust funds that have been administered in the trustee of honor and shall have fulfilled their obligation to settle or terminate or collapse all trusts that are aware of this stated herein. In other words, this document has stated or expressed that the trustee once settled an account that the trust is to be collapsed. In other words, they can't keep a trust open and keep sucking your energy and your funds out of the treasury. Okay. So that one there is important. That the claimant, man or woman who has been found living and not dead has come to of age of sound mind, memory, and judgment of one of the people of the state of the American citizen as contemplated in the act concerning the rights of the American citizens in foreign states, July 27th, 1868, is not a citizen of the United States as contemplated in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. It's as a legitimate into the House of Republic named or known as grantor, settler, testator, so lawfully appointed, absolute general instituted, rightful executor, and so lawful general force, testamentary, unconditional heir, heir of both all caps name and any other derivative names and spellings thereof from said estate, regardless of what the trust are named. So this is basically saying that you, the live person, is the heir of the estate. Okay. So that's an important one there. That all trustees in honor agree that are acting as a special administrator of the estate and trust and operation to the point of serving and served claim of knowledge and the lawful heir of the estate and trust found in the living sound mind and body has come of full age, but now trustees honor stipulate that no more power over the estate or trust other than what the claimant wishes to vest in them. In other words, what I say as the claimant is what goes in how this is to be handled. Okay. So this is the one that I told you guys was important. Okay. So first thing is this, that the claimant has appointed the bifurcated name, Kent Nicholas Stark, bifurcated, as an appointed absolute general instituted rightful executor of the estate and all trusts that stem therefrom by will. Okay. that the claimant has rescinded all powers of attorney and letters of attorney regarding that the estate and trust per public record number filed with whatever state. That the claimant's appointed trustee agree that they shall be billed for any use claimants of the estates per the claimant's common law copyright affidavit and affidavit of fee schedule under this number. Okay. So these are all the things that we're putting on the record of Pima County that you're going to plug into here, right? So that the claimant is lawfully domiciled upon allodial land and soil per public record number XYZ. So it's all these things we're doing to set up because of the stuff that we're putting on the record with Pima County and the stuff we're sending the Treasury so that whoever sees this knows that that's the stuff that's put on the record in your name. So when I do this, like most of you, I'll be doing this for you. I will be doing this, right? But I have to do all the SBC stuff so I can do this. And we also have to do, so this is all the information for the non-UCC and the UCC, okay? And then this is something I did, I got from Pat Devine. This is not something you have to do. But this one is a package where I did the UCCs on the Archdiocese in New York, um, United States Bankrupt Citizen Organization, State of Wisconsin, United States, Kent Stark, ESV, that's the bifurcated name. So I did a whole series of these on just a bunch of entities that really, it's really irrelevant, but it just seemed like a cool thing to do at the time. So these are also things that will be put in here too, right? The UCCs and their numbers and so on, so that anybody that encounters this document knows how you're to be treated. Okay. So then you get down here. Now, once I get this done for you, before we put on the record, I'm going to send it to you to get signed and all that. And you need to read it. You need to read it and go through it and kind of understand. If there's things you don't understand, then you need to contact me and be like, I don't understand this part. Can you help explain this to me? And I will. Okay. Um, this is talking about the default trustees. Of course, the warning, furthermore, and then witnesses, and then the jurat. Okay. So that basically concludes that part of it. I want to open this up for questions because I know that there's a lot of information there and things that are probably a little confusing. So I want to give you guys time to discuss it. So go ahead and ask your questions.
This lawful claim of title, is this a separate book to purchase?
Yeah, yeah, because this is something that I've been working on a couple of years, and I didn't really know where it fit until now. And so when I did my trust, when I got my trust finished, the revocable living trust, when I got that finished, that 257 page one, I had figured out that this has a place in that. So then I started to like look deeper into this. So then I restructured the SPC so that it plugged into this lawful claim of title because I feel like this is the backbone of what we need to do. As far as like letting all the entities know what our wishes are. It's essentially what that document is I just showed you is it's a trust. It's a resulting trust where you're telling everything and everybody how you want to be treated from here on forward.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Kent,
Yep.
I just have a question, and I know we've discussed this before, but regarding all of the trusts that insurance agencies have created in our name, revocable living trust, family trust, dynasty trust, I mean, I explained it all to you. Um, do you have to add the trust and all of those assets to the UCC one before that document is submitted? Because I'm assuming you can take that document to the courts and have them freeze all those assets,
Um,
correct? Like,
so what this does is this does all that for you. You don't have to like enter any information about any resulting trust that any other organization has made. By executing that document, it tells everybody that all those accounts are to be settled and collapsed.
okay,
So if you have an organization that doesn't do that, then you send that to them and you say, you have 30 days to settle and collapse this trust.
okay. And you do the same thing to all the deposit accounts, collateral accounts, phantom accounts that they've created in our name as well. So you would send it to
Well,
single, every single
I,
bank
I
has,
personally wouldn't send it anywhere
okay,
because it's up to them. It's up to them to know that this is, something that's out there. I'll tell you
okay,
this, when I executed this in 2022, when I first started this movement, I just did everything. I didn't even like read anything. I just was like, oh, Pet Divine did it, so I'm doing it. And so I did this. I found this was just some TikTok post. And then I looked it up and I found it on Scribed. And then I got a good copy of it. And then I went through it. And then I put it on the record for myself. And I got in a situation with an employee where he called the cops on me. And um, I mean, there was no like violence or anything. It was just he had been terminated and he was trying to get, trying to like, you know, retaliate, right? So this cop shows up and this is in Oregon and I'm sitting there and he calls first and he's like, oh, what's your name? What's your birthday? So I told him and I knew what he was doing. And so then he got there, and this kid is just running his mouth, just, like trying to cause a stink or whatever. And the cop's like, young man, I need you to be quiet for a second. And he looks at me, and the cop says, Mr. Stark, is there anything else you require of me? And I was like, no, sir, I just want to make sure there's a smooth transition. And this young man goes on down the road. And he said, that's fine, but I just need to know, is there anything else you require of me? And I said, no, sir. And he says, Mr. Stark, you may be on your way. And I drove out of the state of Oregon that day, and I never got pulled over, never got stopped, never anything for the rest of the time I was there. So that's how powerful this is. Now, whenever you put something on the record, I don't care where you put it on the record at, they can see it. Everybody, every court, everybody can see it, and they know how to deal with you. And this happened years ago, and it's still like this today. Like there's been several times in Georgia here I've gotten speeding tickets and whatever, and I just rescission them and send back. I never hear again from them. So once you get this stuff in place, there is power behind it.
does LexisNexis and all those agencies like have your data? I'm sure they receive any kind of recording information. I mean, I don't know, but I know regarding our data and all the companies and sub companies that have our data, especially LexisNexis with that ghost, they call it ghost report with all your information on it the day you were born.
Hmm.
So you wouldn't, that's what I was asking, like, do you need to send it to places like that?
I didn't.
Let
I
them,
haven't sent it.
okay,
The only thing I did is like, this is the thing is that like, this is how I believe in this movement is that, I operate as a man of the age of majority, a man standing on the land, and I carry myself that way. And I don't need to contact anyone. It's their responsibility as a trustee to know and to act appropriately. And if they don't act appropriately, then you address them on that level. But I don't necessarily believe, Pat Devine and a couple other of these gurus in the movement used to say, like Pat always said, don't mess with anything that's over 3 years old. He's like, if it's over 3 years old, it's been, set off and it's gone anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So there's only so much that we can do in this movement in a 24-hour period. And I try and not like create more anxiety for myself in that. So I do the paperwork, I put it on the record, I create the trust, and then I operate within those parameters. And I don't necessarily mail everything to everybody anymore. I did in the beginning, right? When I like tried to rescission my social security card, and then I sent it out to like 12 agencies and it was like fortunately it didn't work. because because it would have disconnected me from the IRS, but it's just like that's the thing is that I don't I don't obsess I try and not get obsessed with um, who or what is like doing XYZ anymore. I'm just trying to act. There's an old, not an old, I guess it's old. I don't know. When I was in Al-Anon, right? It was, they used to say, act, don't react, right? And I kind of believe that in this movement because, again, we only have 24 hours in a day. So I try and make the best of it.
I got a question about this document that we have discussed. How crucial it is to have your name change already done before you can complete this and add it to your SPC?
You can do this anytime. You don't have to have the name change thing done, but whenever you do the name change, you want to add this to whatever paperwork you're doing.
Oh, okay, so I can actually do the title claim before the name change and submit it with the SPC, and then as I do the name change, I can add it to it, right?
Yep.
How difficult is it to do the name change? You have to do it through a court?
Yeah, it's an administrative name change and it's pretty simple. Georgia's really the process is simple, but Georgia just they don't want to do it. So it gets to be kind of complicated. So what I had to do is when I got through the name change portion of it, they wouldn't give me a decree. So then I put it in the paper. So once you run it in the paper for 4 weeks, that's a decree.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody doesn't oppose you in that 4 week period, that's considered notice and it's decreed.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that's what I
notice
did
a
in
lot of
Georgia.
people are doing this a posting in the newspaper, in a legal newspaper, right?
Yeah, so you can
Uh,
do that. I
mhm.
mean, you don't have to do a court case. The reason why Phelps pushed to do the court case is because he was trying to get in the chambers.
Oh, okay.
And so
Gotcha.
he got in the chambers and then he got and then he asked the right questions and got access to, whatever. So they're really like stonewalling that anymore. But yeah, on the name change thing, you can just do the notice.
Mm-hmm.
Your notice that, um, let me show you. Got a little few minutes left here, so I'll show you.
So, may I please ask a
Yeah, go
question?
ahead.
I've got I did a notice to the IRS. You did mention to not disenfranchise yourself from the IRS, and I had put in a notice of non-descendant to them with a portion of I was not in the right I didn't do it the right way, but I put part of my trust in with it, with all my information, with my identity, my social security, my driver's license, my birth certificate, and gave them all that information. And did I disassociate myself from the IRS by doing that?
Well, you can call and find out. you know, but it's pretty hard. I have one friend that did it, and it was pretty hard for him to get that done. So, just call the IRS and, give them your social security number. And if they, have an active account, then you didn't disassociate yourself from it.
Thank you.
Yep. So this one, it's kind of long, so I'm not going to like read through it, but this is the one I ran in the paper. And, in essence, it's right here. The living estate trust governs the estate granted to Kent Stark by the testator, Kent Nicholas Stark, evidence in the testator intent signed and filed in Morgan County and amended. The original order was rescinded and the estate, it was now registered at the Postmaster General August 2nd, 2023, master file number. The trustees have accepted their appointments, blah, 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 and it goes through the whole thing. So that's another way of doing that. Rather than running, getting the court case. Now I addressed the court case in here, but there were
So you
some,
did that after they denied the request, right?
yeah, I did this after
I
they
see. I see.
denied.
That's why you have a reference to the court case.
Yeah, the
Because
court
I
case
thought you have
number
to,
and amended 2025 original order from judge is rescinded.
because I thought when I read this, I thought that you filed a court case, they approved it, but then they required you to put it in a newspaper so that there's no objections from the public.
Right.
So now I understand it more correctly. If they put up the fight, then that's when you do that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like tricks to this, but the thing is that you have all the power and they don't. And so what you're trying to do is establish what your wishes are. And so this document that I've shared tonight is a way of establishing your wishes and and showing through the other documents what you have done and just kind of, move forward.
Now, I have another question. In our paperwork, we don't have a statement asking to change our status from decedent to non-decedent. And I saw a lot of paperwork on that particular aspect of SBC filings. How crucial is that to have that on record or
Well,
not?
that's what you do in trust, right? So
Okay.
once you got the revocable living trust,
Mm-hmm.
then you send that stuff to the IRS and you say, I am no longer of decedent estate. I'm a non-decedent, right? And that's all in that trust paperwork. That's all in there.
So that's a final point that you're
Yeah.
making after your trust has been set up. Okay. So
Yep.
no sense of sending that with the SBC package
No,
even prior to CT.
no, you don't
Gotcha.
want to do that. You
Mm-hmm.
want them to set up the contract trust first.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
once they set the contract trust up and you get your trusts all set up, then you go in and you claim non-decedent.
Gotcha. Okay. Now
Well,
I'm
there's a lot of
listening.
things. You got to do subordination,
Mm-hmm.
subordination agreement, non-decedent to decedent, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of in that trust that I was just kind of paging through. Um, there's probably 10 documents in there specifically for the IRS to let them know. And so once I got it completed and executed, then I sent a mailing off to the IRS. There's a specific office that it gets sent to where you let them know that that revocable living trust is in place. And then that's your transmitting utility from now on for, everything from then on forth that's the transmitting utility.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's a different living trust from the original one that we were creating after creating the FGT Express Trust, right?
So
That's the
the original living trust is a living irrevocable trust from God.
Oh, okay. So that two-pager one that we did
Yes.
just
So
recently.
then you do
That
the foreign trust and
hmm
then you do the revocable living trust and then that's the revocable living trust is the instrument that you use in commerce to do all the things
Gotcha.
you're going to do.
Yeah, yeah. And this one that you did the recorded registered mail trust, that is an irrevocable living trust now. That the previous one was revocable. This is
No,
irrevocable. No?
the God trust, the heaven and earth trust is
Oh, okay.
irrevocable.
That one is irrevocable. Yeah.
Yeah,
S-
this one is revocable.
So this is a second living trust that we have
Yeah, they're
compiled
both
so far.
living. Yeah, they're all pretty
Hmm
much everything after um, the decedent estate is a living trust.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
All right, so we only
Got
got a
it.
minute left. So
Mhm.
you guys got any other quick questions?